Have you ever heard of the case of Enoch Burke? It's a case about a teacher who was allegedly suspended pending an investigation in Ireland. It's a case that I have followed on and off for about a year or so, although it has been going on longer. However, I have noticed that in recent conversations, people have only taken on one fact and one fact only when it comes to talking about the case, and the stories seem to be making a round of Chinese whispers, so to speak. And it's so much so that Grok even got it wrong. Hello and welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters.
Crown you Queen of the Woke!
Let's chat about it. I know that this is not my normal type of video, however, it does relate to LGBT videos that I do make on this channel, and to be honest with you, I got more than just a little bit fed up with people trying to spin one aspect of this particular story. So I will be addressing it in this video and see if we can try and at least get some semblance of fact returning, a little bit at least. Now let me know what you think about the case of Enoch Burke in the comments section below, and if you have heard of similar cases, and please do keep it friendly in the chat. Let's discuss the story according to social media. Please note that everything that I am about to say is an opinion. Enoch Burke was a teacher at Wilson's Hospital School in West Meath. According to social media, over the last few years, maybe even more, Enoch Burke has been suspended in 2022 or was dismissed in 2023 because he allegedly refused to address a male pupil by his chosen pronouns, they, them. Social media also does refer to the multiple accounts of Enoch being arrested for contempt of court, which is actually correct in those circumstances in later regards. Now let's take a look at what some of the posts are actually saying. So this one says, Irish teacher Enoch Burke has been sent back to prison, having already served 560 days behind bars. His crime was refusing to refer to a student as they. This person says, if Enoch Burke was a black Muslim who refused to use transgender pronouns because of his faith, would we be seeing photos of him in chains? The next person says, while the police and courts argue that Enoch Burke was arrested for contempt rather than pronoun usage, which is technically true, he was, the underlying reality is that the court orders themselves arose from his refusal to engage in compelled ideological speech. That raises serious concerns about proportionality, religious freedom, and whether the state should criminalize non-offensive language refusals. So you'll notice that all of these people are talking about the refusal to use the pronouns of the male pupil, right? Now, Grok also got it wrong. Enoch Burke, this is what Grok had to say. I'm not a big fan of AI, but here you go. Enoch Burke, an Irish teacher dismissed in 2023 for refusing to use a transgender student's preferred pronouns, was arrested today, January 19th, 2026, for trespassing at his former school, breaching a court order. He's been jailed for over 550 days total for contempt. Court says it's about the injunction, not his beliefs, his claims it's religious persecution. Sources, RTE, Irish Time, and Sky News. And then Grok is corrected down below. Enoch Burke was dismissed because he harassed the head teacher. He did not teach the trans student and had no contact with him. Or them, sorry, as this person has said. Right. So, Enoch himself has also been pushing the narrative that it was because of his refusal to use pronouns as well. Let's take a look at this particular post right here, and then we'll take a quick look at the video that he's released as well. So in his bio over here, he's got Irish teacher jailed for refusing to comply with transgender ideology at school with Church of Ireland and ethos, two genders, male and female. Breaking, teacher Enoch Burke was arrested again at Wilson's Hospital School after refusing to affirm transgender ideology. This morning, Enoch Burke was arrested by the police, forced into the police car and taken to the High Court in Dublin. He refused to comply with Principal Neves McShane's demand that he use the they pronoun for a male student. No school principal has the right to make such a demand. The court has utterly failed to uphold Enoch Burke's constitutional rights. Anti-Christian transgender ideology is being forced upon children in every school in this country. True Christians can never bow to ideology. God is clear, male and female created he, them. Teacher Enoch Burke has spent over 560 days in Mountjoy Prison. Judge Brian Cragen released Enoch last week, only to bring him back this week, making him a scapegoat to the nation. Right, so let's have a quick look at what he also had to say.
Believe in. Well, this is all about transgenderism. Yeah, it's about forcing. No, it is about one issue.
This is about the issue of the title control. Be brought before the
Judge Brian Cregan knew what would happen. He knew what would happen today.
okay?
This is insanity.
And it's
what's
abuse
happening.
of power.
Okay.
It is
insanity.
abuse of power.
You're working
Forcing
with
transgenderism,
the
not
High
just
Court.
on me.
It's illegal.
Every school in the country, workplaces, businesses, and he's abusing his power. Working
All
with the
because
government.
Okay,
Abusing
You will not
his
accept
power.
transgenderism. Refuse to
Abusing
use
his power.
the
Abusing
paper.
his power. That's what he's doing.
Refuse to use the they pronoun for a young child.
Nobody wants it.
Step into the back of the car, please.
Nobody wants it.
It's an
in the
abuse
country.
of power. Absolute
Forcing it on
insanity.
people who don't want it.
Absolute insanity what's happening here at Wilson
Transgenderism on
Hospital
every
School.
boy and girl and man and woman, forcing transgenderism on them. Nobody accepts this. They don't believe it. People don't want to be told what to believe in, what they must believe in. They don't want to be forced.
So there you go. That's what he had to say. Now, in the grand scheme of things and how people are with reaction to transgender ideology, gender ideology, everything in that area, it's very easy to say that it was because of this and only this. However, it is true, that he does refuse to say the new pronouns, something which, I would agree with. He's well within his right to do so. I don't also believe that children and teenagers can be transgender. I do believe that gender dysphoria is a real thing, though, and I've been very clear on that with this channel. Apparently, he keeps turning up to his former school and continuously gets arrested for it as well, because obviously contempt of court. That one video that I showed you is only one instance. However, all of these posts have one thing in common, and that is they skew the main factors as to the alleged reason why he was suspended. If he was just suspended and fired for his gender critical beliefs, then he may have had a very good case, because like the UK, gender critical beliefs, from what I've seen, from what I've been reading, have protection under law, but not to the extent of harassment. Same here in the UK. So according to what I have read, he was not suspended because of his gender critical views. He was suspended on full pay pending an investigation on his conduct in public at the school. That's why he was suspended, but people are forgetting that. He allegedly chose to address the principal's request that the school would not discriminate against the pupil and affirm his gender. Enoch Burke allegedly decided to take this up with the principal publicly rather than behind closed doors privately in an office. It was, according to reports, his conduct that got him suspended, not his gender critical beliefs. There's a big difference there, right? And obviously he kept going back to the school, and harassing, which is obviously why he ended up getting fired ultimately. This quote is from IDS Global. I will be sure to link that below. Burke is a teacher in Ireland who was arrested after going back to school grounds repeatedly despite being suspended and on paid administrative leave. Burke's suspension came as a result of allegedly disrupting numerous school events and harassing the principal over a request in May to call all staff to call a transgender student by their preferred pronouns. At the time, Burke refused to accept the request, saying it was against his beliefs and amounted to an of children and instead took it upon himself to ask in a very public manner for the request to be withdrawn. The principal proceeded to file a report to the school board's management over serious concerns about his conduct at a public school function, leading to his suspension, but refused to accept the suspension and continued to go back to school and was eventually arrested because of this. So that is what happened according to them, and his continued appearances at the school whilst on suspension led to the High Court giving the school a trespass order against Burke, which he appears to have continuously broken, which has led to him receiving over 560 days in prison in total. So yeah, inclusive of the contempt of court. So yeah, there you go. Following this and how many people have adapted the truth of the apparent reality of what was in question with his conduct, not his belief, seems to be quite barbaric in my opinion. Surely he clearly, you know, he definitely disagrees with the decision, but it would appear that he chose to possibly breach his contract or possibly the policies that the school has in place, as opposed to his apparent refusal to adhere to what the principal had requested. There is a massive degree of social media that is either fake or sensationalized. And that's just an opinion as well. People take the facts that only suit them and they run with it. It is certainly a narrative that Burke, as we saw from his ex, has tried also to do for himself and make himself a martyr. And that's just an opinion. I think it's something that we can all do without noticing. But when it comes to me making videos, I do try to be as careful as I can with the information that I provide. I may not be 100% accurate, and I may very well not be 100% accurate here. And if I make a mistake, I will leave a pinned comment if it's a minor one or a subtitle, or I make a correction video if it's a bit of a bigger one. However, this is one news story with a misrepresentation of allegedly what happened, because a martyr narrative appears to have been peddled, which obviously then prompted me to make this video, because people were forgetting what perhaps actually started this in the first place. Whilst I agree with the view that children and teenagers can't be trans, we must remember that, you know, what appears to be in this instance is something else that prompted this entire ball rolling. In my opinion, it was something that could have been dealt with behind closed doors, but it was blown out of proportion because of social media. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Check out some of the other content I have picked out for you. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Bye bye. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.